For over a century, America's greatest threats always seemed to come from beyond its borders, from rival nations and foreign armies. But what if the ultimate enemy was never on the outside? Enter Baba Vanga, the blind mystic from Bulgaria. She left behind a legacy of prophecies that have baffled skeptics and inspired believers for decades. It's true that many of her predictions are famously vague, open to wild interpretation, and their origins are often debated. In fact, no written records of her prophecies were made by Vanga herself. Still, her followers point to what they see as a startling record of foresight. She's often credited with foreseeing the Chernobyl disaster, the fall of the Soviet Union, and the sinking of the Russian submarine Kursk. One of her most cited predictions speaks of a big wave that will cover people and cities with water, which many now believe was a vision of the devastating 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami. But among the many warnings attributed to her, one legend stands out as a final, terrifying message for the United States. It speaks of an unseen attack, a crippling blow that wouldn't come from missiles or spies, but from within. It's a warning of a spiritual collapse, of a society that forgets its soul. According to these interpretations, she prophesied that chaos would be the only path to redemption. And right now, many believe we are living through that chaos. Baba Vanga's life was defined by darkness. Born Vangelia Gushtarova, she was blinded in a freak storm as a child, an event she claimed opened her inner eye to visions of the future. From her small village in the Bulgarian mountains, her fame grew, and her words were recorded and passed down by those around her. Among the most haunting interpretations of her visions for the West isn't about war or politics, but something far deeper. Believers and interpreters claim she warned of a time when the United States would face a profound moral and spiritual crisis. These interpretations suggest she saw a nation losing its way, where materialism would replace compassion and unity. They speak of a hollowness spreading through modern life, leading to despair and a loss of connection. This wasn't a prediction of a single event, but of a slow, creeping decay. It's a warning that a nation's strength isn't just in its economy or military, but in its collective spirit. Followers believe she warned that when the people of a great nation no longer believe in their values or in each other, that nation doesn't need an enemy. It simply falls from within. The most chilling question this supposed prophecy leaves us with is this: can a nation survive when its soul is hollow? For those who follow Vanga's law, this was the key to America's future, a final test to determine whether the nation would descend into decline or find a path back to itself. According to these stories, this spiritual collapse would manifest in clear, undeniable signs, and the first sign they warn would be the most obvious: a nation turning its back on faith. For generations, faith was a cornerstone of American identity. But in the 21st century, that foundation has started to show cracks. For those who study the lore of Baba Vanga, this trend feels eerily familiar. It's said she prophesied that faith was like a root, and if the root dies, the tree cannot stand. Without it, she supposedly warned, people would grow more selfish, more afraid, and more easily controlled. Whether you believe in prophecy or not, the numbers today are striking. According to extensive polling by the Pew Research Center, the religious landscape of America is undergoing a seismic shift. As of their 2023 to 2024 study, the percentage of United States adults who identify as Christian has fallen to 62%. Just back in 2007, that number was 78%. So where are these people going? Many are joining the rapidly growing ranks of the nones, those who are religiously unaffiliated, identifying as atheist, agnostic, or nothing in particular. That group has swelled from just 16% of the population in 2007 to 29% today. That means nearly 1 in 3 Americans now claims no religious affiliation. This trend is even more pronounced among younger generations, signaling a future where faith may play an even smaller role in public life. While most Americans still say they believe in God or a higher power, key religious practices are on the decline. The share of adults who pray daily or attend services at least once a month has been falling for years. Whether this is a simple cultural shift or the spiritual decay Vanga's followers warn of is up for interpretation. But the numbers paint a clear picture. America's connection to organized religion is weaker than it's been in modern history. The question is no longer if a spiritual shift is happening, but what might rise to take its place. According to the interpretations of Vanga's prophecies, the vacuum left by faith would be filled by the second sign, division. The legends surrounding Baba Vanga's visions of America's internal struggle are stark. It is believed she predicted a time of intense division, a silent civil war fought not with weapons, but with ideology, mistrust, and anger. These interpretations describe a nation looking strong on the outside, but inside, its people would be tearing each other apart. Her followers say she spoke of invisible walls rising between people, creating separate realities where neighbors no longer feel like they're on the same team. Does that sound familiar? Look around today. Political polarization has reached a fever pitch, turning policy debates into moral crusades. Social media algorithms often feed us a diet of outrage, reinforcing our biases and demonizing those who see the world differently. But this goes deeper than just politics. It's about a fundamental breakdown of trust in institutions, in the media, and maybe most tragically, in each other. Friendships end over elections. Families are torn apart by culture wars. Communities are fracturing along ideological lines that feel more like uncrossable chasms. The prophecies attributed to Vanga warned that this internal conflict would weaken the nation from within. When a people no longer share a common story or a common vision for the future, what holds them together? The flag might be the same, but the belief in what it represents is fractured. Followers believe she saw a time when the name United States would still exist, but the unity behind it would feel like a hollow memory. This division, they warn, would create the perfect conditions for the third and most mysterious sign. A final crisis that would bring the nation to its knees, but also offer the only way forward. These connections are unsettling, and they raise profound questions about our future. What do you see happening in the world around you? Do these signs resonate with your own experience? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. We read every one of them, and your perspective is a crucial part of this conversation. And if you find yourself searching for answers and want to continue exploring these unfolding prophecies, make sure to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications. The story is far from over. The final piece of the Baba Vanga legend is the most paradoxical. The prophecies attributed to her didn't just predict collapse, they suggested that chaos was a necessary step toward renewal. Her visions are said to have spoken of a great trial, a sudden crisis that would expose the fragility of society and plunge it into panic. Some followers interpret her vague warnings about economic turmoil as part of this chaos. It's claimed she foresaw a time when money would lose its meaning and great economies would falter. As families across the nation face rising costs and financial anxiety, these second-hand warnings about an empire of paper that could burn feel more immediate than ever. She is also said to have spoken of devastating natural disasters striking with greater frequency, fires, floods, and storms that would act as signs that the world was off balance. In an age of unprecedented climate events, these words carry a heavy weight. But crucially, the legend of Vanga frames this suffering not as a final punishment, but as a consequence and an opportunity. The idea is that when people fall so far, when their false idols of wealth and power crumble, some will start searching again, not for political saviors or easy answers, but for truth, purpose, and maybe even faith. It's a poetic thought, disaster sparking growth, darkness forcing a return to the light. This is the heart of the final warning. The chaos isn't the end, it's the test. The spiritual unease, the deep division, the economic and environmental crises, they are all part of a great shaking. A painful process designed to strip away illusions and force a moment of reckoning. The question her legend leaves us with is whether a nation can shatter under such pressure or if it can emerge from the ashes humbled, wiser, and reborn. From the quiet hills of Bulgaria, the legend of a blind mystic offered a vision of America's future that had nothing to do with foreign armies or invading forces. The war she supposedly saw was for the nation's soul. The warnings attributed to her, often vague and passed down by others, speak of a spiritual decline, a silent civil war of ideology, and a great shaking that would test the country's foundations. We can see echoes of these themes today, in the statistical decline of organized religion, in the bitter political and cultural divides, and in the sense of anxiety that hangs over our society. Whether you believe in prophecy or see these as mere coincidences, the parallels are hard to ignore. The message of the Baba Vanga legend isn't one of inevitable doom, but of a stark choice. Redemption, it suggests, is possible, but only through humility and a return to core values. Her story serves as a mirror, reflecting the anxieties of our time and asking a timeless question. When the world seems to be burning, who will we become? Some, her followers believe, will rise from the ashes stronger, if only they remember who they are.